SHOT Show 2017 at the Hardcore booth with Brian.
So
How you been, brother?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Been good. I think I'm still a little dizzy from yesterday out at the range. We had that headwind. I don't know. I'm sure you've been out there. But they had that headwind down at the Boulder Range, and it was picking up little bits of sand. So I was getting a facial at the same time. You know,
it's a little exfoliation.
Exactly. Really prime stuff. You know, the guy from England that we were talking to said, "Oh, it's not that bad because it's a dry chill." It's like, no, dude.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, listen, we talked a couple years back when you weren't just starting out, but you were on that upswing. You were still on that upswing curve.
Yeah, it's starting to break the brand in for the U.S. market, trying to make sure that everybody was aware of what was available, and trying to make sure that everybody understood what differentiates this brand from other production companies of a higher end. As it is a production company, it is a production brand. It's not anything custom or even semi-custom, but they are high-end production knives and tools that are intended for professionals, but high-end use of bushcrafting, different things like that. If you're going to press it into a non-military, non-law enforcement application, it still allows you to do that. But again, that hopefully that buy once, cry once mentality, where you can abuse them lovingly, and you're not going to have to worry about coming back for 2 or 3 in the same year because you broke them. I said we still have 0 reported failures in the field.
Still 0?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. And we still have in the hands of some of the meanest hombres in the entire planet, all the different groups that have been known to use and abuse tools of this nature, still have yet to have them break anything, despite some sincere efforts on everybody's part to do so.
Some guys with a high breakage ratio.
Yes. In the high 90s, I'm sure. Can't be broken in a Titanic type of thing.
Well, so are you still using the same materials?
Yes.
And those would be?
D2 tool steel is our bread and butter. It's Teflon coated with proprietary Teflon base. I'll show you as an example down here. We started out with the black, and this is the prototype is our ASOT. This is our original ASOT, the Australian Special Operations Tool. This is a secondary version, which is a Tonto. We are very, very end-user driven. So while we started out with this point, a lot of people wanted to go with the Tonto, so we still offer both. This will be coming out. We're still working through a couple of kinks in the production phase, but we do bring them to shot, to blade, get end-user feedback so that people can go ahead and get a better sense of what they are and how they work.
And so these are prototypes?
Yes, the Tonto is.
Right.
And the other ones that we have as far as the D2 tool steel is still the bread and butter. G10, we've got some inserts there, as you can see, just to thicken up the grip a little bit.
Right, because you need that. If you're not wrapping it,
make sure it's a little bit grippier, so to speak. Then we did move on to the folders that are right in front of you.
Well, just real quick before we jump to the folders, looks like you also have trainers for these knives.
Yeah, we do everything. It's a Teflon blue. It is all a proprietary-based Teflon coating, and so each time we formulate a color, we started out with that black, and then each year or each time we modulate to a new color, it takes about 1.5 years to formulate to make sure we're getting the same wear rate, toughness, and different things like that. So make sure that it's really working the way that it needs to, because we have a certain benchmark that we're looking to try to keep at.
And it's always nice, you're doing the blue knife to follow the sequence of the blue gun.
Correct.
For training.
That's correct. And that's internationally for the most part. A lot of different units around the world. I mean, there's every once in a while you have a red gun or something like that, but almost everybody throughout different countries that we go to, when they're training or having training materials or training tools, there's some kind of blue element referenced, or it's entirely blue. So in order to keep that international pace going, we've kept with that same kind of idea, and it helps identify it very cleanly, very obviously, make sure there's no confusion when you're training.
Nothing worse than coming home with some blue dye on your face.
Well, thankfully it doesn't rub off, but that's a good thing.
I'm talking about the simulation.
Oh, no, simunitions are a totally different animal.
Yeah, that's when you don't want
you
don't want the blue dye on your face.
Not at all.
So, outstanding. It looks like you have expanded the line a bit.
Yes.
So what else do you have that is relatively new?
Well, these, as far as the fixed blades, these are our BFKs, and our BFKs are big field knives. The F stands for field, no matter what you hear. The BFKs, we re-engineered the whole line based on a lot of end-user feedback, not only from the law enforcement and military side, but also the bushcraft community, where we really wanted to make sure that you might not be using it in a professional capacity for law enforcement or military, but that doesn't mean you can't have a high-end knife that works for your purposes.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. So the tools are the same. In fact, that all of our kit comes with a custom Kydex sheath that is fitted to it. It comes with both Molly Lock and Tech Lock. and then it also comes with a morale patch, and we change those out every year, so we've got a little bit of tactical OCD going on, but that's okay. As I said, everybody comes back for more. The BFK has a lot of end user feedback, like I said, from military, law enforcement, and then also from like I said, the bushcrafting community, to make sure that it's operating at the highest levels that a lot of people are really looking for, again, for that high end of production value.
Right, very good. Now, the folders, you had folders before.
We did, yes.
It looks like you've got a Warncliffe style blade, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, we actually have a couple of them, and I'll move the sheath just for you so you can actually take a look at all of them in one shot here. But the deal is that we started out with this version without a flipper, and then basically due to some Australian law implementations and changes, we were able to go ahead and implement a flipper variant into that, and we reauthorized and reintroduced the line. And as is our past preference and tendency, we like to take that end user feedback, and if we have blade styles or shapes that are not addressed, but people are saying, we love that style or we want this style, we usually take the top 5 based on our own global feedback, end user feedback, and really make that line driving towards where the end users want to see them. So as an example, getting back into the folders, we're using S30V for the blade steel. So D2 is a bit of a departure there, but that's a laminate construction of G10 steel, G10 steel. So it allows it to be a much stronger knife. We got people who say, oh, is this tie? And I said, no, it's because it's a laminate construction, keeps the weight down, but the strength to weight ratio is still very high because of the steel construction. So it allows it to do that. Absolutely.
Okay, I force a habit, I got to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of these blades have that laminate construction?
Yep.
Okay. Of course, in other parts of the world, San Mai or what have you, that's beautiful. And the weight for an
it's steel overall. As far as the G10, obviously, that's going to give you some weight savings.
Yeah.
But it is an all-steel knife, and that concept of the metal being used, it is not a tie knife, it is not any kind of aluminum base, it is nothing like that. It is an all-steel knife in that concept, all the metal components. So
right. Very good. Anything else new that you'd like to highlight while we're here?
Well, just the fact that we continue to work on a couple of things. One of the things that I will point out to you on the folders that's something we hadn't seen before from a lot of other people is that because we understand that a lot of people like to vary things and change them up, make them themselves in their own a little bit, the screw sets on these are different than anything else we've ever seen anybody do. So if you have an area of the world that you aren't allowed to have a thumb stud, or the flipper variant may be a problem for some people where they can still do the two-hand opening, so to speak, on our original version. The thumb studs allow you to go ahead and actually place the thumb studs in any one of those 3 holes for the same set of thumb studs. So it allows you to go ahead and customize that out for your own hand size preference or opening. So it allows you to go ahead and change that up a little bit, where a lot of other companies, okay, this is how you're opening it, this is how it's going to be, and that's pretty much dead set in stone. So with this, it allows us to go ahead and have a little bit more versatility. That and the standard kind of concept of the pocket clips allows for some regular configuration that you would see for a lot of other companies with some extra twists that are pretty much just our own.
Now, being able to add the thumb studs to either of any of the 3 holes, obviously the threads of, okay, wait a minute, they just simply fit together.
They mate together.
Yeah, they mate together on the inside.
The way it's seated, as far as it has graduated little tiers.
Right,
and the way those tiers fit together was machined beautifully to go ahead and, like I said, our engineering team at Hardcore Hardware Australia was able to go ahead and really work those out so that they're dainty, but they're still robust. So that allows you to go ahead and keep that thumb stud in a very tight precision fashion. So when it's press fit in there, you can Loctite it if you really want to, but if it's just press fit in there, it allows you to go ahead, almost like the length of pull on a rifle.
Right.
You can go ahead for your thumb size or your finger size.
Or if you're wearing, you're going to be wearing gloves.
Exactly. So it allows you to go ahead and have some versatility in your functions for what you're doing. And even if you happen to change it, and let's say you are wearing gloves one day and you're not the next, it allows you to play around with it a little bit. So that continued some of the other options that we have as far as our fixed blades and continue to offer. We'll just keep coming out with new stuff.
On the folders, Brian, what's your retail price on those?
The production, I don't have it, so about $269 is
right around $270 is the ballpark figure.
As a rough idea. That may obviously fluctuate a little bit as the market comes down and we get them back in there, but that would be a rough idea for where they might be at.
Okay, very good. Well, listen, brother, you have a safe trip home. It was great talking to you again.
You too. Thanks, guys.